If you've been charged with an offence, then you'll need to go to court. But don't think just because you've been charged, you're going to have to go to a trial. The trial may be 2-3 years away. There's lots that can and should be done to try to avoid the case progressing to the trial. So if you've been charged, you'll now be entitled to the initial evidence against you, sometimes referred to as the IDPC, the initial details of the prosecution's case. This is probably your first opportunity to actually see the evidence presented by the prosecution. So when we're approached by a client, if you come to us now, for example, you've just been charged, I would want to liaise with the police, find out where they're up to, what's happened with any previous interviews, get any previous notes from a previous solicitor's firm, but also get in touch with the prosecution service, obtain the evidence, send a copy to you, and then I go through it with my team. We then have a conference with you. We put all our heads together. We start to look at the evidence, the strengths of the prosecution's case, but also the weaknesses of the prosecution's case, that we can try to identify what the defence arguments are going to be. Remember, at this stage, it's all prosecution-led. You've not been entitled to see the evidence, so it's been a disadvantage to you. But once we get to see the evidence, hopefully it starts to tip in our favour. We can start to look at what they've got, how strong their evidence is, but then we can start to work properly on the defence arguments. And we can do this before we get to the magistrate's court for the first hearing. We're entitled to see the initial evidence before it gets to that first hearing. We can have a conference with you before your first hearing. We need to do that. It's only fair to you that your solicitors have time to go through all of this, prepare for the hearing. If there's any way of convincing the prosecution not to proceed, then of course we'll look at that. But if it does go further, then of course we've already got the groundwork in place to start building your defence over the months that follow. So please get in touch early on. We can start to go through all this with you. We can normally do a fixed fee for all the work up to and including your first hearing at the Crown Court. So hopefully that keeps it manageable for you. And then only if your case goes further after the Crown Court is there an additional fee, which can normally be a fixed fee and sometimes can pay over instalments. So please get in touch. We can go through the costs with you, look at your case. The initial consultation is completely free of charge.